technically not. So if you want to stay here, when I stand here, it will be easier for me to jump on and off. Okay, so why do we bother going so high in Montmartre? The special thing here, I told you, is it used to be a village outside of the city. So this place is actually way younger than the rest of Paris. In Paris, you can see buildings that are more than 2,000 years old. Here, most of the buildings were built between 100 and 200 years old. Around us, they were mostly built at the end of the 19th, beginning of the 20th century, which is pretty young for Paris. Why is that important? It's because it was built in reaction against Paris. Paris, you have this long avenue that were built in the 19th century with all the buildings looking the same, the Haussmannian building. In Montmartre, they wanted to bring back a bit the feeling of being in a small village. You know, in Paris, as I told you, usually all buildings in a street should look the same. You have law, you can't really build anything you want in Paris. You really have to follow strict protocols. Here, look around you. You almost have no building touching each other that are the same height, the same style. You have a bit, we'll see on this walk, lots of different kind of buildings, which is fun because you have a lot of parts, of course, around Paris that were incorporated, that were ancient villages that were incorporated. Montmartre is one of the only one that kept this essence of small streets. If you look just here, for example, you see that in other parts of the city, they had other idea. You have here one of the only skyscraper in Paris, that is the Court of Law of Paris.
Same.
Where you have a little forest at the top, so you can go hang out in the forest while you're being prosecuted. That's cool. Why it's so special here in Montmartre is because it used to belong to nuns. Just here you have the ancient street of the nuns. Nuns would own this place. They're the one who built the windmills. We saw the Moulin Rouge just before. The windmills used to very be the signature of this district because they were built by this holy woman that began to grow cereals around here, to grow the wine. At the beginning, wine was mostly for mass. I do not think they're very happy that we used it after for party, but well, we use wine as we can. And they would make the law around here. If you would commit a crime here, the nuns would judge you and they could even sentence you to death. They would not do the execution though, you know, because, well, holy woman, all that. But still, some people call this district the feminist district because of that. I don't think it's really feminist because of something that happened 1,000 years ago, you know, but well. But after that they had to leave, and it's other kind of people that made this district famous. It's the artists. And talking about that, I want to take you to the house of an artist just here on the right. If you have no question about the history a bit of Montmartre.
What happened 1,000 years ago?
I'm sorry?
You mentioned something happened 1,000 years ago.
2000 is the beginning of Paris.
Okay.
The oldest buildings you will see in the Latin Quarter are 2,000 years old.
Okay.
It's mostly ruins.
Okay.
It's,
Does it have a Roman history also, because most of the structure are Roman kind, even
the long streets? No, it should. We had Roman streets, but they were all destroyed. And it's way later in the 19th century that Napoleon III, following the Roman style, built these very long avenues. Yep. You're right, there's a link with Roman architecture, but there's a big gap in the between the old Roman emperors and the new Roman emperor a bit that is Napoleon, where you have this very small streets. If you want to see a bit what Paris might have looked like between the two emperors, go to Le Marais. Le Marais is a very interesting district where they didn't destroy the streets and where you still have the small medieval streets. Not to do some publicity, but we do a tour in Le Marais. I do a tour tomorrow morning in Le Marais if you want to.
we can.
So, thank you for the question. Any other question?
No.
All good? So let's go to that artist.